Happiness is one of the most misunderstood words in our lives. Everyone wants to be happy, yet very few people actually understand what happiness truly is. Most of us grow up believing that happiness is something that happens to us. We think, if my situation improves, I will be happy. If people treat me well, I will be happy. If my problems disappear, I will be happy. And so we keep waiting for the right job, the right person, the right amount of money, the right phase of life. But days turn into months, months turn into years, and happiness keeps getting postponed. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. If your happiness depends on what happens outside you, you will never be happy every day, because life does not promise perfect days. Some days bring success, some bring failure. Some days bring praise, some bring criticism. Some days bring people closer, some take people away. If happiness is tied to circumstances, it will rise and fall like the stock market, and living like that is exhausting. Happiness is not the absence of problems. Happiness is the ability to stay peaceful even when problems exist. It is not about controlling life, it is about controlling your response to life. This is why two people can go through the same situation and experience it completely differently. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wiser. One complains, the other grows. The situation is the same, but the inner world is different. There is a story of an old man who lived in a small village. Every morning, no matter what happened the previous day, he would wake up smiling. Someone once asked him, "How are you always so happy? Don't you have problems?" The old man laughed and said, "Of course I have problems, but I don't carry yesterday's problems into today. Today deserves a fresh mind." That one sentence carries deep wisdom. Most of our unhappiness does not come from today. It comes from yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's fears. To be happy, Eve. Right day, you must learn the art of living in the present. The mind loves to travel. It goes back to what hurt you. It goes forward to what might hurt you. Very rarely does it stay where life is actually happening. When you wake up in the morning, the day has not yet harmed you. But within minutes, the mind reminds you of worries, responsibilities, and disappointments. And just like that, happiness disappears before the day even begins. One of the simplest habits for daily happiness is this. When you wake up, take a moment to breathe and remind yourself, right now, I am okay. Not my life is perfect, not everything is solved, but right now, I am okay. Gratitude for the present moment grounds the mind. Happiness starts there. Many people think happiness means feeling excited all the time. That is not happiness, that is stimulation. Happiness is calm. Happiness is contentment. It is the ability to sit quietly with yourself without feeling restless. If you cannot be alone with yourself, no amount of people or achievements will make you happy. There was once a young man who constantly felt unhappy. He changed jobs, cities, friends, and hobbies, but nothing worked. Finally, he went to a wise teacher and said, "Please tell me how to be happy." The teacher gave him a heavy bag and said, "Carry this everywhere you go." Inside the bag were stones. At first, the young man questioned it, but he obeyed. After a few days, he came back exhausted and angry. The teacher smiled and said, "Those stones are your grudges, expectations, comparisons, and regrets. You carry them every day in your mind. Drop them, and happiness will feel lighter." The young man understood that happiness is not about adding more joy. It is about removing unnecessary mental weight. One major reason people are unhappy every day is expectations. Expectations from people, from life, from situations. We expect others to behave a certain way. We expect life to be fair. We expect effort to always bring immediate results. When expectations are not met, disappointment follows. This does not mean you should stop having standards or goals. It means you should stop attaching your peace to other people's behavior. If someone does not appreciate you, you feel unhappy. If someone ignores you, you feel unhappy. If someone misunderstands you, you feel unhappy. Now ask yourself honestly, How much control do you each have over others? Very little. Then why give them control over your happiness? A powerful shift happens when you say, I will do my part sincerely, but I will not let someone else's actions decide my inner state. This does not make you cold or careless. It makes you emotionally mature. You still feel emotions, but they no longer control you. Another secret of being happy every day is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean liking everything that happens. It means stopping the inner fight with reality. Many people suffer not because of what happened, but because of what they think should not have happened. This should not be happening to me. Life should be easier. People should understand me. That resistance creates pain. Think of rain. If you stand in the rain and curse the sky, you will get wet and angry. If you accept that it is raining and open an umbrella, you may still get wet a little, but you will not be miserable. Acceptance gives you clarity to act wisely instead of emotionally. There is a story of a woman who lost her job unexpectedly. For weeks, she was angry, anxious, and depressed. One day, she decided to stop fighting the situation and started asking better questions. What can I learn? What can I do with this time? She developed new skills, explored interests she had ignored for years, and eventually found a job that suited her better. Later, she said, losing my job was painful, but resisting it made it miserable. Accepting it changed everything. Happiness often begins when resistance ends. To be happy every day, you must also learn to stop comparing. Comparison is the thief of joy. Social media has made this worse. You see filtered happiness, edited success, and staged perfection. You compare your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel and wonder why you are not happy. But you never see their struggles, insecurities, and silent battle. A flower does not compare itself to another flower. A rose does not feel insecure because it is not a lotus. Each blooms in its own time, in its own way. When you constantly compare, you insult your own journey. Happiness grows when you respect your pace. Another daily habit of happy people is meaningful routine. Happiness is not created only by big events. It is created by small daily practice. Waking up on time, taking care of your body, eating consciously, moving your body, reading something uplifting, helping someone without expecting anything. These small acts create stability inside you. When your routine is chaotic, your mind becomes chaotic. When your routine is grounded, your emotions settle. You don't need a perfect life, you need a simple, consistent routine that supports your mental peace. There is also deep happiness in service. When life becomes only about me and my problems, the mind feels heavy. When you help someone, even in small ways, your problems temporarily step aside. Not because they disappear, but because your perspective expands. A teacher once told his students, if you want to be unhappy, think only about yourself. If you want to be happy, include others in your life. True happiness grows when life is not self-centered. Another important truth is this: you are allowed to feel sad and still be happy overall. Happiness does not mean denying sadness. It means not living in it permanently. Emotions are like weather. They come and go. You don't judge the sky for having clouds. Similarly, don't judge yourself for having low days. Allow emotions to pass without building a home in them. People who are happy every day are not emotionally numb. They feel deeply, but they recover quickly. They don't replay pain again and again. They don't keep reopening old wounds. They learn, they release, they move forward. Forgiveness plays a huge role here. Holding grudges is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It is for your peace. You don't forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you deserve peace. Another story illustrates this beautifully. Two monks were walking when they saw a woman struggling to cross a river. One monk lifted her and helped her cross. Later, the other monk remained silent and upset. After hours, he said, "How could you touch a woman? It is against our rules." "The fur," Saint Monk replied calmly. "I left her at the river. You are still carrying her in your mind." Many of us carry people and events long after they are gone. Happiness comes when you learn to put them down. To be happy every day, you must also redefine success. If happiness is delayed until success arrives, you will always feel incomplete. Celebrate effort, not just outcomes. Be proud of showing up. No. Just winning. When you acknowledge your effort, happiness becomes independent of results. Silence and reflection are also important. A noisy mind cannot feel happiness. Take time away from constant stimulation. Sit quietly. Observe your thoughts without reacting. Over time, you will realize that many thoughts are unnecessary. When mental noise reduces, peace naturally rises. And finally, remember, this happiness is a skill, not a gift. Some people practice it consciously, others don't. That is the difference. You don't wait for happiness. You train yourself to return to it again and again, just like breathing. Every morning, you get a choice. You can carry yesterday's pain or you can start fresh. You can focus on what is missing or on what is present. You can let the world control your MOD, or you can take responsibility for your inner state. Life will still test you. People will still disappoint you. Plans will still fail sometimes. But happiness will no longer be fragile. It will be rooted inside you. And that is the kind of happiness that stays with you every day, no matter what happened. And remember, happiness is not something you reach one day and then keep forever without it. Fourth, it is something you return to again and again, like coming back home after a long journey. Some days you will forget. Some days emotions will take over. That does not mean you have failed. It only means you are human. The key is not perfection, but awareness. One beautiful practice happy people develop is observing their thoughts without immediately believing them. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion deserves a reaction. The mind is like a radio that keeps playing different channels. Some songs are soothing, some are disturbing. You don't have to dance to every song that plays. You can simply lower the volume or change the channel. When you learn this, inner freedom begins. Many people say, "I'll be happy when things calm down." But life rarely calms down permanently. There will always be responsibilities, challenges, and uncertainties. The question is not when life will become peaceful. The question is whether you can become peaceful while life is happening. Happiness is learning to sit in the middle of chaos without letting it shake you from inside. There is a simple story of a boat crossing a river. The water is rough, the waves are strong. One passenger keeps screaming, panicking, holding the sides tightly. Another sits calmly, trusting the boatman. Both are in the same boat, same river, same storm, but their experience is completely different. Life is that river. Trust, patience, and surrender decide whether you suffer or flow. To be happy every day, you must also learn the courage of letting go. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the need to be understood by everyone. Let go of the need to prove yourself again and again. The more tightly you hold, the more stressed you become. Happiness often arrives when you loosen your grip and allow life to unfold. People who are happy every day have also learned to speak kindly to themselves. Your inner dialogue matters more than you realize. If you constantly criticize yourself, remind yourself of past mistakes, and speak harshly inside, happiness will struggle to survive. Imagine living with someone who constantly puts you down. You would feel drained. That someone is often your own mind. Replace harsh self-talk with gentle honesty. Instead of "I'm useless," say "I'm learning." Instead of "I always fail," say "I didn't succeed this time." Words shape emotions. Emotions shape experience. Change the words, and slowly the experience changes. Another secret is learning to find joy in ordinary moments. Happiness is not only in vacations, celebrations, or big achievements. It is in morning sunlight, a warm cup of tea, a kind conversation, a moment of silence, a deep breath after a long day. When you train your mind to notice these small joys, life feels richer without needing more. There is a story of a man who complained that his house was too small and noisy. A wise person told him to bring his goat inside the house for a few days. After days of discomfort, the wise person asked him to take the goat out again. Suddenly, the house felt peaceful and spacious. Nothing changed externally, but perspective did. Happiness often grows. Ingratitude replaces complaint. You must also understand that happiness is not avoiding pain, it is growing stronger than pain. Pain teaches, pain refines, pain humbles. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Pain becomes purposeful. And purposeful pain does not destroy happiness, it deepens it. Happy people also forgive themselves quickly. They don't replay mistakes endlessly. They learn, correct, and move forward. They understand that guilt can guide growth, but living in guilt kills joy. You are allowed to outgrow your past. You are allowed to become better than who you were yesterday. One more powerful habit is spiritual grounding, whatever that means to you. It could be prayer, meditation, reflection, or simply sitting quietly with gratitude. When you connect to something larger than your ego, your problems feel lighter. You realize you are part of a bigger picture. This connection brings stability that external achievements cannot provide. At the end of the day, happiness is a decision you make repeatedly, not once, but daily, sometimes hourly. You see, whose peace over reaction. You choose understanding over judgment. You choose growth over bitterness. Life will not ask you whether you are ready before testing you. But happiness does not wait for permission either. It quietly grows when you nurture it with awareness, acceptance, gratitude, and compassion. And one day, you will realize something beautiful. Happiness was never outside. It was alwa, within reach, waiting for you to stop searching and start living. As you continue to walk this path of everyday happiness, you will begin to notice a subtle but powerful shift inside you. Situations that once disturbed you deeply will still arise, but they will not stay as long. Words that once hurt you for days will now pass through you in moments. This does not mean you have become careless or cold, it means you have become centered. Centered people are not unshaken because life is easy. They are unshaken because they have built an inner anchor. That anchor is awareness. Awareness of what truly matters and what does not. Awareness that life is temporary, emotions are temporary, situations are temporary, but your values and inner peace can be permanent if you protect them. One important truth happy people understand is this. Not every battle deserves your energy. Some arguments are not worth winning. Some explanations are not worth giving. Some people are not ready to understand you, and that is okay. When you stop trying to convince everyone, you save enormous emotional energy. That energy then becomes peace. There is a beautiful story of a man who was known for his calm nature. No matter what people said to him, he remained composed. Someone once asked him, "Don't you ever get angry?" He replied, "I do get angry, but I don't invite it to stay. Anger may knock, but you decide whether to open the door. To be happy every day, you must also learn to set gentle but firm boundaries. Happiness does not mean saying yes to everything. Sometimes happiness means saying no without guilt, saying no to over-explanation, saying no to emotional manipulation, saying no to things that drain your spirit. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They allow good energy in and keep unnecessary chaos out. Happy people also understand the importance of rest. We often glorify being busy, exhausted, and constantly available. But a tired mind cannot feel joy. Rest is not laziness. Rest is respect for your mental and emotional health. When you are rested, your patience increases, your perspective improves, and happiness feels more accessible. Another powerful practice is acceptance of imperfection, your own and others. Life becomes lighter when you stop expecting flawless behavior from flawed humans. When you allow mistakes, misunderstandings, and differences to exist without personalizing them, peace grows naturally. Think of life as a long journey, not a single moment. Some days will feel heavy. Some days will feel light. If you judge your entire life based on one bad day, you will miss the beauty of the journey. Happy people zoom out, they don't let one chapter define the whole book. There is also joy in simplicity. The more complicated you make life, the harder happiness becomes. Simplify your desires. See. Simplify your expectations. Simplify your routines. When you need less to be happy, you are harder to disappoint. You may notice that happy people laugh more easily, not because their life is funnier, but because they don't take everything personally. They see life's ironies. They smile at their own mistakes. Humor becomes a coping tool, a reminder that not everything needs to be serious. As this understanding deepens, you will realize that happiness is not about constant positivity. It is about emotional flexibility, the ability to move through emotions without getting stuck, to cry when needed and still believe in tomorrow, to fall and still trust yourself to rise. And finally, happiness grows strongest when you live in alignment with your values, when your actions match your conscience. Why? Our heart feels light. When you live honestly, kindly, and sincerely, there is a quiet joy that follows you everywhere. You don't need validation when your inner voice is at peace. Life will continue to unfold in its unpredictable ways, but you will no longer wait for perfect conditions to be happy. You will carry happiness with you, like a lamp that lights the path no matter how dark the road becomes. And one day, without even realizing it, you will wake up, breathe deeply, and feel grateful, not because everything is perfect, but because you have learned how to be at peace with what is. That is how you become happy every day, no matter what happens. And when this way of living becomes natural, you will stop asking the world to change for you. You will focus on changing the way you meet the world. That is a powerful shift. Because when you stop demanding happiness from outside, you stop being disappointed by it. You will also notice that you become kinder, not only to others, but to yourself. Kindness is a quiet form of happiness. It softens your inner world. When you forgive yourself for not being perfect, when you allow yourself to rest, when you stop punishing yourself for things why or did not know then, happiness finds space to stay. There is a gentle strength in people who are happy every day. They are not loud. They do not show off their peace. They simply move through life with balance. They listen more. They react less. They trust the process more. And slowly, others feel safe around them because peace is contagious. Happy people also learn the art of detachment without becoming disconnected. They care deeply, but they don't cling. They love sincerely, but they don't lose themselves. They give their best, but they don't tie their worth to outcomes. This balance is what protects their joy. Another beautiful habit they practice is ending each day with reflection instead of regret. Before sleeping, they ask themselves simple questions. What did I learn today? Wow. Tea went well. What can I do better tomorrow? They do not judge the day as good or bad. They see it as complete. And this sense of completion brings deep rest. Gratitude, when practiced daily, rewires the mind. Even on difficult days, there's always something to be thankful for. A lesson, a breath, a moment of clarity. Gratitude does not deny pain. It simply refuses to let pain blind you completely. You may still face loss. You may still face uncertainty. But you will face them with maturity instead of panic, with faith instead of fear, with acceptance instead of resistance. And this emotional maturity becomes the foundation of lasting happiness. Over time, you will realize something profound. Happiness was never about fixing life. It was about understanding it. Not about controlling people, but about mastering yourself. Not about avoiding storms, but about learning how to walk in the rain. And When someone asks you one day, how are you happy even when things go wrong? You may smile and say, because I stopped fighting life and I started flowing with it. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. That is not escape. That is clarity. And that is how happiness quietly becomes your everyday companion.